Hey, it's Brian Mudd. This is my cheat sheet for Wednesday, October 24th. Alright, so Apple did have some additional surprises up their sleeve. Yeah, the iPad mini. Yeah, the 13-inch MacBook Pro with Retina display that I had been talking about. But yeah, a lot of other stuff, none the least of which was what happened to the new iPad? No wonder they never really gave it a name. They apparently weren't planning on keeping it around for long. Talk about a bridge product. This has already frustrated a bunch of new iPad owners that it's not even going to be for sale. That's right. It's not just that Apple came out with a fourth generation iPad yesterday. It's that they aren't even going to sell the new iPad, the third generation one, going forward. Why? Well, there's several different reasons. None the least of which is that we're going into the holiday shopping season, and with all of the new products out there that have been released, including the new Surface at the higher end level, Apple wants to make sure they have the shiniest and brightest object in the showroom when you go to take a look at an iPad for the holidays. But there's a much bigger story that's playing out. And by the way, there are five different product announcements out of Apple yesterday. I had them all on my physical cheat sheet. But where this is really all going is that Apple is making that huge bet on education. I'd mentioned recently that not only had Steve Jobs, his vision been taking on education, revolutionizing it with e-reading, but recently Apple was starting to get beaten out by Amazon's Kindle, and a lot of that had to do with the lower price of those of the Kindle products, and schools are more likely to adapt to it. Well, that's where, in many places, Apple is going to look to make an impact one of two ways. Schools that have purchased tablets so far, the number one tablet they purchased, the iPad 2, and a lot of that had to do with the lower price over the course of the last year. Apple, with the iPad mini, which has a screen that is considerably larger, in fact it gives you about 30 to 50% more screen size to actually see than the Kindle Fire products out there. Apple with that, coming in at a tag at $329, is going to be pushing either a traditional iPad or the iPad mini, depending upon what a school's budget is. But Apple's going all in on the education market. This is going to be the bigger turf war over the next year than even just competing over consumer business. And they did not want to let Amazon gain a foothold in the educational market. Now, the long and the short of this is, ultimately, I think it's great for education because we have technology companies competing to connect with students in a way they want to be communicated with. E-learning, which I think is a better and more efficient way of learning and should help teachers in the educational process as well. So whoever wins out in this battle, and I think you still have to keep your money on Apple, I like where this is going with regards to the kids. All right, recession risk. I started talking about this quite a bit even during the show yesterday. I mean, we have just gotten a barrage of bad earnings reports and downward revisions. 90% of earnings revisions going forward, negative. We have no growth in earnings net as it is so far. Surprisingly, a company like Facebook actually ended up beating estimates yesterday. But where's this all going? So I took a look at a couple different things yesterday. Number one, the economists out there that are telling you that the economy will not enter recession really at any point over the next 12 months. You do have 28% of economists that do say we have a near-term severe risk of recession, 28%. So most economists will tell you we don't have that problem. But here is one potential fly in that entire ointment. There are a couple different things I took a look at yesterday. One is an index that Stanford has that measures uncertainty in the U.S. economy. You ready for this? We just hit fall 2008 levels in economic uncertainty in the United States of America. To give you an idea, a baseline of 100 is neutral. Anything below that means there is less perceived risk than usual. Anything above that is more perceived risk than is healthy. Well, in the fall of 2008, that Stanford index hit 165. Guess where we are right now? 164.8. In other words, there's as much economic uncertainty right now in our economy. We're talking about the presidential election, the fiscal cliff, our debt crisis, cost of living increases, what's going on in Europe. It's put us in a position to where our economy is facing a fall 2008-like occurrence without, obviously, the banks freezing up. So when I say that we're at imminent risk of recession, that's a big piece of it. And the big first peel-off to get through this uncertainty is the election. Look, I don't mean to make this about politics, but it's reality. It's simply reality. Here's the bottom line. If Mitt Romney wins this election, you will see, and I do not use these words lightly, a violent, and I mean a violent, upside to the stock market from where we currently are. If you see that Barack Obama is reelected, you will see a violent, and I mean a violent, sell-off in U.S. equities and the financial markets. We will likely go into the fiscal cliff, because here's tying this all together. U.S. economists are pricing in only a 17% chance of going over the fiscal cliff. That's it. 83% of them are saying we're going to hang in there. And that's the thing to watch, because we go over that fiscal cliff, not a lot of nothing else is going to keep us from going into recession. That's the cheat sheet from today. Enjoy yours. We'll see you tomorrow.